Okay, so in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to deploy your MERN project using CloudPanel in your VPS hosting, and we'll also be going over how to use VS Code using SSH to manage certain things with your CloudPanel. So let's get started. If you're looking to get a 20% discount on Hostinger, then use the referral code in the description below, or go to the Hostinger website, and in the website URL add referral code is equal to swebdev and press enter. The code will be applied on checkout. So let's continue with the rest of the video. Okay, so I have CloudPanel open. So if you're wondering how to install this, just go to the OS panel. Here you have operating system. There'll be an option to install CloudPanel. You can just go and do that. It's not complicated at all. I'll just give you a quick overview in a sense. So go to the OS with panel, okay, click that and select CloudPanel and just click change OS, and it will just basically install this. Okay, I'll also be making tutorials on Coolify on how to install that and how to set up certain things with Coolify, but for now I'm just going to use CloudPanel. So in your CloudPanel, just click manage panel and you will open this. Okay, so here is where you will set up your MERN project, but the way you do this, and when you make a MERN project, you have a client folder and a server folder, right? So what you do is create two sites here, okay? And I'll tell you the reason why. The front end is going to be your main domain name, and the other one is going to be a subdomain, okay? But before we do this, open up your project, okay? So you have your client and your server folder, right? So you have to zip them, either zip them or create a RAR file, okay? And then you have to basically just upload this RAR or 7-zip file, okay? The reason is that there are big files inside of this, and when you try to upload certain huge files, it won't let you for security reasons. But you can just zip them and extract all of the files on your server. So that's the best way of doing this in my opinion. So to do that, just download any kind of RAR or zip application from the Microsoft Store, okay? Or you can just go online and download something. That's also a good option. After that, you can just then right click and zip these up, okay? Usually you will have a option, okay, to create a RAR file or archive, okay? So that's up to you. So while that is happening in the background, okay, when you try to zip something, it takes a little bit of time depending on how big the folder size is. So while that is happening, we're going to create the sites, okay? You need to create two. So go into the Node.js site option, and here I'm going to keep the port 3000 because that is my front end port that I'm going to be using, okay? The site is going to be this. I'm not going to show you because of security reasons, okay, what this is going to be. Just remember to copy and save this password, by the way, or you can write your own password here as well. It's up to you. I just think passwords like these are more secure, and it's better to just copy and save these, okay? So just copy this, and I'm gonna click create, and in the meantime, while this is creating, I'm gonna pause the video and save the password. So as you can see, this is set up, and I'm just gonna repeat the same process, but there will be one difference, okay? So I'm gonna make my port 4000 because that is the port I have set up for my backend, okay? So this has to match the port that you have set up for your backend, just to be clear. So I'm gonna change this to 4000, okay? And the other thing is this. So when you have your URL, right, what you're going to do is create a subdomain, and to create a subdomain, it's very simple. Just type in your domain name and then add a name for your subdomain. Like, for example, I'll just call this something simple like server, for example, and then add a dot. So by doing this, what you're doing is creating a subdomain, okay? So server dot and then your URL, okay? That's how you do this. And then it's the same process, just copy the password and just click create. So now your subdomain and your main domain has been created. Okay, this is where we will put the server folder, and this is where we will put the front end folder. Okay, so let's click manage for both of these. So in my server folder, okay, the first thing I would recommend you do is create a SSL for both of these. Okay, let's create this. Okay, it's created it. In the settings is where you add your SSH key. So if you don't know how to set up your SSH, I've already made a separate tutorial on how to connect your VPS using a SSH. It's the exact same process, just specifically for this. That's the difference. So how to create the SSH key on your computer, it is very simple. So just type in the command SSH dash key gen dash T and then the name of the encryption. I believe this is the name of the encryption. Okay, but you can go and watch that tutorial. You have to put this in the terminal, by the way, not here. You have to put this in a command prompt or a PowerShell. Okay, and then press enter, and it will ask you three things. One is in the first option. In the first option, you usually just end up putting your email address or something like that. In the second option is the passphrase, which is like a password in a sense. So end up adding something that will work as a password in a sense that you can easily remember. And then the third thing is basically just the confirmation of the passphrase. Okay, so just type in the same passphrase that you typed in before. Okay, it's kind of like that. And if you're not understanding what I'm trying to say, just go and watch that tutorial that I created separately on how to create a SSH key to connect to your VPS. Okay, so after that, what will happen? What will happen is that it will create this. Yeah, it is 255.19. Okay, so it will create something like this. So if I open this, and you can use something simple like Notepad, for example. So you'll have a SSH key like this. So just copy this. Okay, I'm not going to show you mine, and just paste this here. Later I will show you how to connect your projects specifically using this SSH key, using your VS Code. So just click save, and that's done. And it's the same process for the subdomain. Okay, just do all of these things for the subdomain as well, and I'm just going to do that off screen. There's no point in repeating that again. Just copy this SSH key and put that there, and also create the certificate, and then I'll just come back, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the tutorial. Okay, so I'm back. If you go to the top in all of these options, go to file manager. Okay, and do the same for the server as well. Okay, so in the htdocs you'll find a folder. Okay, just go into that, and here is where you end up setting up your files for the front end. And also in the subdomain, it's the same place where you set up the server side as well. Just take your MERN stack project, okay, and you're just going to drag and drop the RAR file in. It's the same for this as well. Okay, right click, and then you'll have the option to extract. Click that. Okay, so it's extracted that for me, and then just go into the MERN stack folder in both of these. Okay, so for this one, I think I just tried to upload both of them. That's why it had some kind of problem. So don't do it all at once. So go into the MERN stack folder, and you'll see client and server. Okay, it's the same for the server as well. What you're going to do is go into this, and by going into this, you have all of these files in the server folder. Okay, and I need to go into the client one for this. You need to refresh. I guess it can't handle both at the same time or something. I don't know, some kind of problem there. Okay, so in the client folder you have this. So what you're gonna do is, okay, so just drag this to your main folder, okay, which is the same name as the URL. Okay, so just drag and drop it into that. So this is for the client side. So I don't need the MERN stack folder anymore, so I'm just going to delete that because I only needed the client-side files. And for the server, you're just going to do the same thing. Select all of these, drop them into the subdomain folder. Okay, and now I don't need the MERN stack folder anymore. I'm just going to delete that. I only needed the backend files here. Okay, so now you have this. And you might be wondering, okay, I've set up the front end, I've set up the back end, it's going to be completely fine. It is not. And I'll give you the simplest answer for this. If you try to go to the domain, okay, which is this, you'll see this, a 502 bat gateway. So why are you getting this? At the end of the day, this should be working. You set everything up correctly. I'll give you the biggest reason why. You haven't run this as a node project. That is why you need to connect to your VPS using a SSH, but we're going to be specifically using the SSH to connect to our CloudPanel project. So now you want to open up your VS Code, and you need to go into the extensions, and you need to install Remote SSH and Remote Explorer. Okay, these two are necessary for you because these are the things we're going to use to connect to our CloudPanel using an SSH connection. Okay, so after you've done that, just open this up. So I had previously connected to my SSH using CloudPanel, okay, before, for the front end at least. I'm going to show you how to do it for the back end, and it's basically this exact same process for the front end as well. Okay, so just open this up, and what you're going to do is basically just type in for the back end, right? So you need to go into your settings again, and you need to go to the site users by scrolling down. You need to copy this. You need to type in this input SSH, and you get this input just in case you didn't notice by clicking this. Okay, so type in this input SSH space and then user and then at and then the website basically. Okay, the website URL, which is the subdomain URL. Okay, copy this. I'm gonna go back to this and then press enter, and then it's going to ask you where you want to put all of this configuration. Just select the default option, is the best one, I would say. So click connect. Now it's going to try and connect to your project by comparing the SSH key that is in your project with the SSH key you have entered into your CloudPanel. It's going to ask you which operating system this is. Linux. Sure you want to continue. It's confirming the SSH key that I have and the one that I have submitted online to my CloudPanel, and it's now downloading everything it needs. To connect to your project, click open folder, and it will go to the project folder. Click OK, and while that is connecting, I'll connect to the other folder. Okay, and now both of my CloudPanel sites are connected. Okay, so now we have the project open. This is the folder name, this is the website name, and these are where the project files we added are. Okay, just like I showed you the file manager. Okay, so how do we start this? Because we're getting a 502 error. Basically just means that the connection is not being established. Okay, so first of all, what you can do is type in the command node-v to check what node version is installed. Okay, so this basically is telling you that node is installed. Next, what do you need to do? So next, what you need to do for React at least is install two things. Okay, just type in the command npm I pm2 and then also serve. Okay, so these are two packages that you need. Press enter to install them, and don't worry about this. This is basically saying that the npm version that you have is kind of old because a new version recently released. Don't worry about it, it's gonna work fine without updating. Okay, and you can always just run this command if you do want to do that. Actually, you know what, I made a mistake. You do need to type in this command, but you need to type in -g because you need to install this globally. Okay, so first let's remove. Now you need to install two things. Because we've confirmed we have Node.js installed, we installed two packages to run our front end. So just type in the command npm I pm2 and serve. Okay, press enter and it will install these two packages for you. Space -g. Press enter. So what this will do is install these two packages globally. Okay, so now these packages are installed, and to check whether this package is installed or not, you just do pm2-v, and as you can see, it is installed. Okay, so to use pm2 to start your front end, and you will also be using this for the back end as well, not here, but the second VS Code that you ended up opening, that is where in the terminal you will type in the command to open up VS Code to run this same command, but without the serve. Okay, so I'll just show you that later. Right now we're gonna use pm2 to start our front end. Actually, before we do any of this, so we're in the terminal, right? So go to this, okay, right click and do open in integrated terminal. Okay, so now you're in this folder. Okay, so here, just in case you didn't do this, I did this beforehand, but just in case you didn't do this, for your front end React project, and for Next.js you also do this, by the way, just type in the command npm run build, press enter. Okay, it's not allowing me to run this for some reason. I'm assuming it's a CloudPanel security thing. Okay, so basically if you did not do this, okay, just open up your project in VS Code on your computer and just type in the command npm run build for your project and then upload it. Okay, just in case you didn't do this, I did do this, that's why I didn't show you in the beginning. Okay, it creates a dist folder with basic files. Now that we have pm2 installed, you need to go into this part, right? So open this up separately and just type in the command pm2 start serve name, and then give this a name. I'm gonna call it something simple like React app, and then --s dist. Now press enter. Now that has started your app, your front end. Okay, I'm gonna refresh this, and now you'll see this is working, but backend will not work. Okay, if I click this, this will not work. So why isn't this working? So you need to copy the front end URL. Okay, and it's the same thing for the backend. Okay, the subdomain URL. Okay, just copy that, and then what you're gonna do is go into the env files of both of these. Okay, you need to create these env files, by the way, in your project. And these are simple React projects, by the way. I haven't added anything complicated or anything like that. These are fresh installations. I just tweaked some small things in the app folder. Okay, so in the void backend URL, you end up typing this void backend URL environment variable. You just add the backend URL, and in this, you just add in the env file, just add the front end URL, and the port number is this. Okay, just in case you want to look at the code of what I have done, these are the packages that I have installed, and then I've just used course here. Okay, and this is the middleware. This is a simple request that is going to be sent back. Okay, and this is the message that is going to be sent back when you hit the /API. Okay, which if I show you in the front end code, I'm using Axios, by the way. It's basically this. Okay, and when I access the backend URL, okay, I'm just getting that message. I'm putting it in a use state, and then I'm just on click handling that and just putting the message here. That's all that is happening. Okay, just to be clear. Okay, so the front end side is working. Now let's handle the backend so that the backend can work with our front end. Okay, so I'm back in my backend, and you need to open this folder, the one in the htdocs, the terminal, and you basically just type in the same command. First, you actually have to install npm I pm2-g globally in this separately. Okay, you have to separately install it, and you do not need to install serve, by the way. So ls, you can see that it is running now. Okay, the problem was that when I did this, where I typed in node app, you need to type in -- to separate this. Okay, so just add that. I ended up adding it without the --. That's why the problem happened. So to delete the previous one, it's very simple. Just type in pm2 delete and then node app, okay, whatever the name is for this. Okay, and then press enter. You will delete it. I don't want to delete it, obviously, because I want to run this. Okay, so now if I go back to this, if I refresh this, okay, you see this. But before, when we click this, nothing happened. Now if I click this, Just give it a second. Okay, so now we're back, and if I click this, as you can see, I'm getting the message from the backend. The problem was nothing big. I just forgot to update the environment variables according to where the backend is now. So if I basically just show you this, in my environment variables, in my front end, I just need to point to the backend with the /API, and the reason for that is because in my Node.js index.js file, I have a get request that points to the /API. This is where the message is coming from. Okay, so I'm just sending this back as a JSON request. So that's it. That's how this is done. And after you end up updating the environment variables, by the way, okay, for this it's the front end URL. Okay, change that one, and here I'm just updating the backend URL. Okay, and then like I just showed you before, I'm getting that in Axios using this. Okay, pointing to in Axios using this. The front end, in the back end, I'm allowing it through this. Otherwise you would have a course error. Okay, this fixes that course error. And you need to do this in your environment variables in your project, by the way. Okay, and then run the command npm run build. Okay, and what that will do is build the dist folder and just go in, delete this dist folder and replace it with the one you just now built. Okay, that's it. Now our project is running with our front end and back end. So I hope you like this tutorial. Like and subscribe to stay updated on the latest tutorials, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.